Your government voted it down. So let's set the record straight who really is obstructing their own legislation. It is not the Conservative Party of Canada. Shameful.
Paper Tiger Gary Edisongere is in the hot seat with Larry Brock. Let's check it out.
Minister, you took exception to my colleague Ms. Vienne's characterization of your communication with your tenant. You said essentially that it was taken out of context without allowing her to continue that line of questioning. So I'm going to correct the record and maybe refresh your memory because I got a transcript. You had a conversation with your tenant, and tenant reminds you, Gary, but we're not the problem, Gary. Gary, I realize that. Gary, if I were to redo this from the beginning, like I'm picking up where it was left off, Gary, listen, I told you if I were to redo this from scratch, I would have a very different approach to this. Tenant, we're talking about Canada. It's a federal. It's not provincial. Gary, I get it. Quebec is in a different place than other parts of Canada, right? And this is something that very much a big, big, big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us, right? And that's one of the major things. I think I'm sure you've seen these articles where people said, you know, this is one of the things we should not execute, like as a change from Trudeau's policies, but we've made the decision to go ahead. This was all political. Minister, this has got nothing to do with public safety. Law enforcement has consistently told you that from coast to coast to coast, and I would dare say probably in private discussions with the RCMP that they have told you that the problem facing Canadians and victims, particularly women, are not lawful gun holders, but those criminals, those thugs who have easy access to illegal stolen firearms that are pouring into our country. You knew that. You explained that to your tenant. So don't lecture my colleague for saying something out of context. This is something you said, and your points are well taken that this was a political maneuver. This is not going to make people safe. Now, if we're talking to a victim, a woman in particular who lived under a rock for the last 10 years and listened to your 5-minute opening statement, she would awaken and she would say, wow, am I ever blessed to live in one of the safest, if not the safest countries in the world. And you know, Minister, statistically that does not bear that out. So do you have a comment about the fact that your rhetoric does not match the statistics that have been growing literally every single year since the Liberals took power in 2015? What are you going to tell those victims?
Let me first at the outset, Mr. Brock, tell you that when I indicated that I would have done it differently does not mean I will scrap the program. I would have designed it differently. It's a very different set of facts that you're putting forward. Having said that, look, there is a real issue of intimate partner violence in Canada. I'm not underplaying that. I recognize this. I've been to funerals. I've had people in my community who have died because of intimate partner violence. I continue to monitor and see the deep impact that intimate partner violence has in our society. And my responsibility, Mr. Brock, and our responsibility collectively is to ensure the safety and security of Canadians, not rhetoric. So essentially,
my time,
Mr.
Minister.
Brock, you had quite a bit of time.
Minister,
let me just finish.
Excuse me.
Okay?
I would say it was quite a long question. I'll give the Minister 15 seconds to finish.
Okay, so let's work together. And that is my point here. Let us work together. I think what you're misconstruing my opening statements with, you're not reflecting the other work that we're doing in order to address
Minister, I'm moving on. Another theme that you brought up in response to Ms. Cody, that your government consistently brings up day after day after day, is accusing the Conservative Party of obstructing criminal, bail, and sentencing legislation. I don't know where you were at 1:30 this morning, but I was in this building passing Bill C-14. We sat for 9.5 consecutive hours to make this a priority. I then wanted to make a priority of Bill C-16 to get rid of the Jordan issue, to deal with mandatory minimum penalties, to strengthen offenses dealing with intimate partner violence, and every attempt that we brought motion after motion to deal with Bill C-16 as a priority, your government voted it down. So let's set the record straight who really is obstructing their own legislation. It is not the Conservative Party of Canada. You had 7.5 months to bring forward critical legislation to make a difference in the lives of intimate partner violent victims. And you waited literally to the last minute to introduce legislation, and now you're delaying it. Shameful.
That's your time.
Smash the like, hit subscribe, get your Canadian federal politics right here. Aaron, Canadian Looney.
Mr. Brock, to you for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, you were in the back of the room when your colleague was questioned by this committee. I had raised questions regarding your meetings with provincial and territorial counterparts. The question I'm going to put up front and then the justification to follow is what steps are you and your government taking to restore trust and confidence that is sadly lacking by intimate partner victims in this country, particularly women who feel that we don't have a justice system, we have a legal system. There's a lack of trust and confidence in policing. And when substantive charges on the 810 issue, when substantive charges, whether they be assault, whether they be threatening, whether they be mischief related of a domestic context, are simply withdrawn and with an urging to accept an 810 resolution with zero enforcement and zero consequences contributes to that lack of trust. Will you commit to ensuring national standards right across this province with your provincial and territorial attorney generals to ensure that their Crown policy manual sets out a basic direction as to handle domestic related cases and a direction with respect to under what circumstances will a charge be withdrawn in favor of a Section 810 charge, and what instructions you'll give for enforcement under 811?
Thank you for the question. I've got less than 1 minute, so I won't have time to answer the systemic trust preamble that you've put to me. On the specific question of provincial collaboration on 810 and violations under 811, it strikes me as a good idea, but I would need to have conversations with my provincial counterparts, and I would need to do a deeper study, having only had this put to me when my colleague received the question. The one caveat that I would put to that is I would want to insist whenever you're dealing with criminal remedies, as you would well appreciate, Larry, they're highly fact-dependent and individualistic. To the extent we can ensure there's the ability for the court to have remedies that fit the facts of a given case, which will adjust. I do think guidelines and consistency across the country is generally a good thing, but I would certainly demand the opportunity to engage with my provincial counterparts before I broadcast in a live meeting that I'm going to do something that I have not consulted on.
Thank you, Minister.
Wonderful.
Canada's broken, and Canada's broken because we're stupid. Okay? Canada's broken because we're stupid.
I still think that it would be helpful for Canadians to know exactly what you would do when it comes to tariffs. So why are you being so reticent to talk about that?
Because I'm a good negotiator. I have negotiated a number of situations in the past. I know how to manage crises.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Question?
Who cares? I mean, it's a detail.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Society, and he doesn't trust free people to make their own decisions. That's something that colors a lot of his writing, a lot of his speeches, that, you know, people like him should run things. You know, he's a very fancy person. You know, he's hobnobbed with the rich and famous. He likes being in fancy rooms where they wear tuxedos and know which fork to use for the salad and the fish.
Prominent people that were part of these HSBC Swiss accounts that had been inherited from SAFRA. Epstein was one of them. Some associates of Epstein, like Flavio Briatore, are there. But also, you know, HSBC was laundering money for drug cartels. And who didn't go after them when they were in charge of the Bank of England? Mark Carney.
Aaron, Canadian Looney, smash the like, hit subscribe. Please leave a comment below. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. Thank you for watching this video. I'd suggest checking this one out. Very interesting. If you like this video, you'll like this one as well. Anyhow, ciao for now. Aaron, Canadian Looney. We'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.